welcome you to another edition of Fixed English with Topsy. My name is Temitope Olayode. In this English lesson, I will be teaching you the second part of structure of a sentence. The structure of a sentence. Now, we had this topic treated in our last video. If you followed this video through, I defined a sentence and stated how the different structures can appear in a sentence. So now, I want to consider different examples of different patterns of sentences. Now, the verb. A sentence can appear in the form of just a verb. For examples, write, jump, eat. Are you surprised? No, don't be. Only a verb can be a sentence. I told you in our last video that without a verb in a sentence, of course there is no sentence. It is the verb that makes a sentence. So with just the verb, we can make a sentence, just as we have said, as long as the listener understands what you are saying. Another structure is this: the subject and the verb. Okay? A sentence can be structured in the form of a subject and a verb, and so we call it SV structure. For example, the students laughed. The students laughed. Now, the subject in this sentence is the students, while the verb here is laughed. Another one is the pastor decided to sing. The pastor decided to sing. The pastor is the subject. Decided to sing is the verb in this sentence. Let's consider another structure. We can have subject, verb, and object, which is the SVO structure. For example, the player won a medal. The player won a medal. You can tell the subject in this sentence, the player, then the verb is won, a medal is the object of the sentence. Another example, we cooked our favorite meal. We cooked our favorite meal. We is the subject, cooked is the verb, our favorite meal is the object of the sentence. Don't forget that an object can appear in the form of a phrase, a noun phrase. Another form or structure of a sentence, subject, verb, and complement, which is the SVC structure. The lady became a lawyer. The lady is the subject, became is the verb, a lawyer is the complement of the sentence. His expressions were captivating. His expressions were captivating. His expressions, the subject, then were, verb, captivating, complement of the sentence. Another structure of that sentence is subject, verb, and adjunct, SVA structure. For example, my pupils write legibly. My pupils there is the subject of the sentence, then write is the verb, while legibly is the adjunct of that sentence. Another example is Desmond has arrived New York. Desmond has arrived New York. Desmond is the subject, has arrived is the verb, then New York is the adjunct. The last example under this category is my lesson ends where I deem it fit. My lesson ends where I deem it fit. I can simply ask the question, where does my lesson end? And then I answer, where I deem it fit. Okay? Another structure that we have here is the SVAA. That is the subject, the verb, adjunct, and another form of adjunct. We can have two adjuncts or more in a sentence. Let's see the situation. He comes here always. He is the subject of the sentence. Comes is the verb. Here is the adjunct of place. Always is the adjunct of frequency. Let's see another example. The old woman goes to a doctor for regular checkups. The old woman here is the subject of the sentence. Goes is the verb. To her doctor is one adjunct. Then for regular checkups is another adjunct. Why? The first form of adjunct is where does the woman go? To her doctor. Why does she go there? For regular checkup. So we see these two adjuncts perform different functions. Now let's look at a seventh structure here, the SVOO. Don't forget, in our last video, I told you that we can have two objects in a sentence where one will be direct and the other will be indirect. So let's see further examples here. My friend gave me some pizza. My friend gave me some pizza. My friend here is the subject of the sentence. Gave is the verb. Then some pizza is the object. Then me is another object. Some pizza is the direct object, while me is the indirect object, the receiver of the direct object, some pizza. Then another example is the teacher told the students different stories. The teacher here is the subject of the sentence. Told is the verb. The students is the indirect object. Different stories is the direct object in the sentence. All right, I hope you got that. Now to the eighth structure. We have SVOC, subject, verb, object, complements. The man named his son Bishop. The man named his son Bishop. The man is the subject of the sentence. Named is the verb. His son is one object. Then Bishop is the complement of the object in that sentence. So don't forget that I told you that before you can have the complement of an object, there must be an object in the sentence. Let's consider another example. The boy's father considered his son's act absolutely preposterous. The boy's father considered his son's act absolutely preposterous. The boy's father here is the subject. Considered is the verb. His son's act is the object. Then absolutely preposterous is the complement of that act. Is complementing that act. Now to the ninth example. Subject, verb, object, object, adjunct. That is SVOOA structure. Now let's see these examples. We delivered him some goods 2 weeks ago. We is the subject of the sentence. Delivered is the verb. Him is the indirect object. Some goods is the direct object. Then 2 weeks ago is the adjunct in that sentence. So we have two objects operating in that sentence. The government gave the citizens some palliatives during the COVID-19 pandemic. The government gave the citizens some palliatives during the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's analyze this sentence. The government here is the subject of the sentence. Gave is the verb. The citizens, the first object. Then some palliatives, another object, being the direct object, while the citizens is the indirect object. Then during the COVID-19 pandemic is an adjunct. That is the phrase, an adjunct. Okay, now let's move to the 10th structure example. Subject, verb, object, complement, adjunct. That is the SVOCA itself. The pastor finds his members very cooperative in church. The pastor here is the subject. Finds is the verb. His members, object of the sentence. Very cooperative, complement of the adjunct, of the object rather. Then in church is the adjunct in that sentence. Now let's move to the next example under this structure. The woman calls her daughter sweet names whenever the latter performs her duty. The woman calls her daughter sweet names whenever the latter performs her duty. The woman there is the subject, calls is the verb, her daughter is the object of the sentence. Then sweet names complements a daughter. Whenever the latter performs her duty becomes the adjunct of that entire sentence. to the end of this lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions for me, please drop it in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. See you in my next